Great. So this all starts the summer of this year, and I got a job at Publix in my town where my school is at, and I was working in the Chinese section. And I know not every Publix has this, but a lot of Publixes apparently have a Chinese section. They didn't have one in my hometown, but this one did. And it's not a part of Publix, but it's like a contract with Publix. So we work in this the public space, but it's not a Publix company, if you get what I'm saying. So we worked in the section with the deli, but we were just on another side of the deli, but we all had to use like the same facility, the same sinks to wash dishes, the same fryers, etc. So just to give you a background of exactly where this happened. So I was in the Chinese section, and I got the job because I needed some money, you know, what other reason would it be? And I met up with the manager. They had a sign on the section of the Chinese asking for hiring. So I contacted the manager, and when we had the interview, I got hired on the spot. And I was supposed to start the following Thursday. That day might have been I don't know, but it was the next Thursday that was coming up. I would start working, and it's not really important, but yeah. So I come into work, and the uniform's there for me, and the manager I had spoken to who had hired me wasn't there, but the young man, or well, he ain't that young, but the man is okay. On my Twitter story, I called him bachata. Cause okay, he was Hispanic, and you know, not that that means anything, but we're just gonna call him that. And I don't know why I called him that. That's just the first name I thought of. Yeah, so bachata, he was there. So he was there when I came to pick up the uniform and start my first day. So I came up to the counter. I was like, "Hi, I'm Kayla here. I'm." The manager is the manager here. I'm the new girl, and he said there would be a uniform left for me. So I didn't realize that him and the other people that were working there, who aren't really relevant, didn't really speak that much English at the moment. I didn't realize it, but once upon asking them that, and it was looking at me confused, then I was like, okay. So yeah, and then I start working. So the first few weeks, it was nothing really to say. Him and the other workers, there were two other workers there that would be there present alongside the manager and me, and obviously this was my training period, so every time I was there, it was just me and the manager. Plus our section was really small, so all you really needed was like, you know, one or two people to serve, and then bachata, he and other people were cooks. Yeah, so like I said, for the first few weeks, nothing really crazy happened because nobody was really talking to me. I wasn't really talking to anybody because I was the new girl, and that's just how it is. But you know, eventually we start getting more comfortable because then I met one of the other young people he was a college student as well, my co-worker that was also a server. I met him later on, and we started talking because he did speak fluent English, like he's American, and we just kind of built a little friendship. So after that, when we all worked together, me, that other co-worker, and bachata and whoever else, we kind of started talking more because he was friends with them, so it just kind of made us all mutuals. So, you know, after a while, you know, like there was really nothing I could say was a red flag, but I did notice that bachata and the other two cooks really liked to look at every freaking girl that passed by. And at the time I thought it was funny because, you know, it's just funny the way boys and men act around, you know, some ass and some titties. And the particular Publix that I worked at was close to one of the other schools in my town, so a lot of young ladies would come through there. You know how us ladies like to dress, like to have little booty shorts, you know, no bra, Wednesdays, all that. So, you know, every time some girls like that would come in, they'd be like, you know, looking real wide-eyed, not even being discreet about it. And it was just funny to me at the time because they weren't really doing anything. Then once bachata started getting more comfortable with me, he would start, you know, talking to me in Spanish, which was fine because I wanted to, you know, learn and expand my vocabulary even more. And we were communicating pretty well, and he was trying to learn English as well, so you know, we would work with each other. But he would start to, you know, tell me about the things that he liked, and you know, I would just listen, you know, whatever work conversation. And he would ask me about my boyfriend, and I would tell him some things, nothing about our sexual escapades and nothing like that, but just mostly like, oh, who he is and how long we've been together, XYZ. So I remember too, one time he, like, there was some girl with, you know, a really big butt. Oh yeah, before I even get to that, he would tell me that, because he had a girlfriend who was pregnant, but at this point I had never seen her. But the girlfriend, he would say that he would tell her that he loved ass so much, and that he would always look at it, and that he doesn't care if the girl has an ugly face, but if she has a nice booty, that he likes that. And this is what he's telling me he told his girlfriend, saying that he's going to look but he won't touch. And I'm just like, oh, okay, bachata, whatever suits your, whatever floats your boat. But I just know if I was his girlfriend and you came telling me that, I'd be like, are you crazy? Like, you know, I know my man is going to look because that's how men are, but you don't need to like physically let me know and be like, look, I'm looking at this bitch's ass and that bitch's ass, you know? So yeah, he tells me that, and I was just like, okay, you know, he's clearly a little freak or something like that. And he would always talk about how, as well, how the women in America he felt like were more beautiful than the women in his country. I forgot what country he was from, but I do know my manager was Mexican, and then the rest of them were kind of like, it was like a community of, you know, Hispanic immigrants that he knew, and I guess he was kind of like the patriarch, got them all jobs, all of that. So fast forwarding to when, you know, shit started hitting the fan, was one day, I don't even know how it came up, but you know, they were talking, him and the other co-workers of mine were talking, and you know, obviously they speak in Spanish most of the time, but then you'd be cracking jokes and shit, and I could understand them to a certain extent, but you know, some things I didn't know. So I was like telling Bachata, I was like, you know, in Spanglish, that I feel like him and the other ones are always talking shit, and not necessarily talking shit about me, but just in general. So one of the other coworkers got nervous because he thought I was saying that they were talking shit about me. So damn it, Bachata came to me to clarify. He's like, oh no, we don't talk bad about you. All we say is that he said that one of my other coworkers, the most they've said is that I was pretty. And I was like, oh, thank you, that's nice. Which, I mean, okay, you know, you know, not to seem like I'm bragging, but I mean, you know, I know I'm pretty, and it's not that big of a deal when somebody compliments me. But I was like, oh, thank you, that's nice. So after that, I guess he got this idea that maybe he's seen what the other boy was seeing, because he started getting real, you know, real touchy. And from my hometown, there's a lot of Hispanic people, and obviously my family is, you know, Black Latin people, and you know, they like to touch, they like to kiss, all that. So I wasn't thinking much of it, but gradually he started to, you know, get a little bit more comfortable with me. He would, you know, touch my shoulder, be like, oh, good morning, Kayla, or you know, this, that, the other, and I just thought it was fine, because first he started with the shoulder. So then fast forward to another incident. I had told my boss that I was walking home because, I mean, I don't have a car, and I don't know why, I just didn't want to take the bus or something, but I was gonna walk home. And he let Bachata know that that's what was happening. How it came up, I don't know, but then he offered me a ride because his girlfriend lived in the same, no, she didn't live, she worked right by where I needed to go. So, and he was supposed to pick her up from work. So I take the ride from him, and we go, and we're in the car, and we're just talking about God knows what. And he's all like asking me all these questions about if my boyfriend is home, who lives in the house. And I'm just like, oh, my boyfriend's not home, but his roommates are, and they're men, big men. And then he's like asking me, you know, telling me about how he's had threesomes and this, that, the other. And I'm just like, Okay, Majata, whatever. Oh, and I forgot to mention. So my coworker that was also a cook. I mean, not a cook. I feel like I'm gonna have to tell this story all over again because I'm all over the place. I forgot to mention that the coworker of mine that was also a server, his sister who just turned 17 is pregnant, or was pregnant. I don't know if she had the baby by now, but was pregnant, and she is Bachata's girlfriend. So I was just like, oh, okay. And the brother was the one who happened to tell me that, but I didn't really know how to react, and I could tell that he kind of felt funny about it because I was like, oh, she looks kind of young, and he was like, yeah, she's 17, and I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, that kind of gives you a little scope. He's a pedophile basically, but you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say too much about the girl because I feel like we've all been in a position where we were with an older man when we were underaged and we didn't realize how serious that was. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's happened to me. I was with an older man when I was underaged and I didn't realize how serious it was at the time. You know, I just thought it was cool and cute because I'm this little 16-year-old and a 20-year-old likes me, you know? So yeah, when he takes me to do the ride, at that point I was already aware of the girlfriend and the whole situation of her being underaged and pregnant. And he got her pregnant when she was 16, so she just turned 17 when I had seen her that one time. Because she came to the store one time and I was like, oh, that's your sister, she's so pretty. She was real cute too. So yeah, he was kind of hinting at the fact that he wanted to come into the house to do what, I don't know, because I'm like, I have a boyfriend and I talk about him all the time and we're definitely not doing nothing with you. So yeah, he was kind of insinuating that he wanted to come inside, but of course I hopped out the car and was like, okay, bye, thanks for the ride. So that was that one day. So another incident, remember I told you that he would say he would like, that there was girls he would spot and he would say, oh, I'll pay her 300 or 400 to make a sex video. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, you probably gotta pay more than that because girls ain't trying to drop it down with somebody they don't know for $300. If you gonna pay me, it had to be like 500 and up, probably, depending on what you're trying to do. So one day he came up to me and asked me if I wanted to make a video with him, and he kind of caught me off guard because I was just like, what? And I was like, no. I said it just like that. I was like, no, I do not want to make a video with you. And he just walked away, and that was that. And well, no, he didn't walk away. He was just like, why? And I'm just like, no. I mean, bachata. I keep messing up the names. So as the weeks go on and on and on, you know, nothing crazy happens, but I still notice him getting even more and more touchy. So first it was the shoulders, then he went to the elbows, then he would like sometimes brush like he would like poke my stomach or something. And I mean, what am I supposed to say? Like, I mean, I don't know, I probably could have screamed at him, but I don't even know what my thought process was. I'm just not the type of person, you know, most of the time I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, he could just be trying to be friendly, so I wasn't trying to scream at him. Like, I usually wait till somebody does something like really definitive of disrespect, because you don't want to be looking stupid if, you know, that's not the case, right? So yeah, he started like poking me in my stomach or some shit, or he would like, one time the space we worked in was really small, so it could have been a mistake, but I swear to you, I felt his hand brush my ass. I swear. But then again, I don't know. And that's why I didn't make a huge deal out of it, because, you know, some people could say, well, you must have, you know, fucked with it because you didn't say that much in the beginning. But, you know, I said enough. And as a woman, I feel like you shouldn't have to scream at people. You shouldn't have to, you know, chastise people, because they should know. And it's nothing that you're doing, it's that person, because clearly they ain't got no sense. Like, I swore he brushed my ass, but I mean, who knows, because we are in a very small working space. It's like a little rectangle. Like, it was literally like this wide for us to like pass through. even though I said shit hit the fan before, this is when shit really hit the fan. So if you follow me on Instagram, there was a bikini picture, well, a set of bikini pictures that I posted. I'll probably put, you know, an example up here, but if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it. And it was real cute. You know, I had my little thong on, and my mom took those pictures actually, because we go to the beach like every Sunday. And I was like, ooh, booty is popping. I was looking thick in those pictures, but don't be fooled, because I'm not. And I didn't have bachata on Instagram, but I had the other coworker, one of the other coworkers on Instagram. He was a nice dude. Like, there was no reason for me to be like, oh no. But I learned my lesson. You cannot add your coworkers on social media. So yeah, he was on there, and I guess he saw the pictures. And something in the back of my mind, because he messaged me about the pictures, like he DM'd me the picture and was like, oh, I get sexy. He's like, your ass is perfect for me. And I was just like, you can't be saying that. But I mean, he might have made a mistake in the typing, because that coworker spoke a little bit less English than Bachata did. Like, Bachata, he can understand. So he would be trying to, sometimes he would try to act like he didn't understand, but he could understand. So yeah, he messaged me talking about some, oh, okay, sexy, your body's so perfect, and this, that, the other. And I was just like, okay, tone it down a little bit. But once he did that, something in the back of my head told me that he's probably gonna show the other one, Bachata. And you know, to my non-surprise, he did. So I come into work the following week, because I had been on vacation at that point. There's no beaches where I'm at. And I come back to work, and of course, the first thing he says is,
I see your picture on Instagram, and it's very sexy. You never dressing like that at work.
how am I wear a bikini to work? How? Why? Bachata, we're working. Why would I wear that to work? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like,
oh, well, if you wear it to work, more people buy Chinese.
And I swear to y'all, he talks just like that. And I'm just like, okay, Bachata. Like, I just ignored him at that point, because I was like, this man is crazy. Like, I keep telling you I have a boyfriend. Like, you know, granted, you see the picture, you like it, whatever, but you need to come to work saying all this shit to me. So after that, he started touching me on my waist. And at that point, I had to like start, you know, karate chopping the nigga. And I would be like, Bachata, stop, you know? But he just didn't get it, I don't think. I don't know if it was like the language barrier where I couldn't, you know, overtly express that this is not okay, or he just chose to not understand. But well, at the moment, that's what I was feeling like, but now I've been enlightened and I know why. So that same day, he left before me, because I was closing that day, and the cooks, they leave at like, they're supposed to leave at 8, and I wouldn't leave till the next hour, which would be 9. So he's getting ready to leave, and they would use like the coolers behind the counter where we would serve. They would sometimes, him and the other dudes would sometimes put their food under there to cool. Excuse me. And he would go, but the way that the Publix is set up, you have to go like all the way around and out of the deli section to get out of our section. So you can't just like walk this way, but they have this policy where you can't like have your food or your stuff behind the counter. So if you want to get your stuff, you have to go around and somebody will pass it to you. And so that's what he was doing. He was getting ready to leave, and he was asking me to pass me some of his stuff, which I'll gladly do. I don't, you know, there's no issue with that. I'll help you out. So I get his stuff and I give it to him, and he's getting ready to go. He's like,
okay, bye, Kayla. Dame un besito.
And he go like this. I'm just kidding. He didn't do all that, but he was dead ass serious, poking at his lips. He was dead serious, and I had to, at this point, I had to yell at him, and I'm just like, go home and kiss your pregnant girlfriend, okay? And he's just like thinking it's so funny. He's like, why not? And I'm just like, bye, go home. So when he left, when he turns around and leave, I turn around and another coworker of mine who was not a worker of the Chinese section, but he was working in the subsection, which I feel like I'm confusing y'all with that. It's the same section, but he was actually a part of Publix, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Well, he does the subs. He fries the chicken. So the chicken fryer dude, I turned to him because we had already kind of, you know, been friends, not really friends, but acquainted, and we would talk sometimes because when I would close on other days, he would be back there frying the chicken and I'm washing dishes. So I turned to him and I'm just like, you see what I have to deal with? Because, you know, besides Jose, obviously men would come up to the Chinese counter asking me for my number, asking me if I got a boyfriend and this, that, the other. And I'm just like, you see what I gotta deal with? And he proceeds to tell me, he was like, man, he always doing that. He's been doing that since God knows when. So I'm just like, oh sis, give me the tea. What's tea? Because I'm thinking it's just me. So I'm talking to chicken fryer dude, and he lets me know that there had been several other girls that worked there previously that he had also, you know, been sexually harassing. And one lady in particular was a married woman, and he told me that he was messaging her in the middle of the night talking about he wants to eat her pussy and God knows what else. And then another young lady he dated, but I guess it didn't go well because the chicken fryer dude was her friend, and Bachata didn't like that they were friends, so it turned into like a big scuffle or something like that. And then there was another girl who also worked there at the time, but her and I never worked together because of, I guess, just the way our schedules worked. And she told him, the chicken fryer dude as well, that he also had started touching her. So I'm just like, so this dude's literally gonna touch every girl that my manager hires. Like, is that what it is? So he's been doing this for a long time, and my manager has been aware of it, and nothing has been done. So at that point, I just got like kind of worried because I'm just thinking, okay, so if all of this has happened and he has been aware, and my manager has been aware of it, why is he still working here? You know? And I was a very good worker. I was always on time and everything. So I felt like, you know, I had grounds to, you know, ask this to be handled because, and even if I didn't, you know, you can't be sexually harassing people at work and every girl that he hires you're gonna do this to. On top of that, it just made him seem even more creepy because of all the times that girls would be coming in. He'd be ogling at their ass and their titties like he ain't ever seen them before, you know? And talking about he gonna, you know, ask them to make a sex tape and XYZ. So that next day, I text my manager and I let him know about all the things that he's been saying and doing to me. And I tell him that he doesn't have to make it a huge deal, but I want him to express to him that I don't like that and it's disrespectful and we want to have a decent workplace. So I tell him that, you know, if I find the text messages, I'll put them up here because I might have deleted them by now, but if not, then they won't be there. So I tell him that, and you know, he's like, okay. No, he calls me afterwards and he asked me to, you know, explain it again, and I let him know again, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to him because, you know, that's not right. I value respect for my people, and you know, even though he has worked with me for a while, that, you know, that's not right. So I'm just like, okay, you got me, manager, it's all good. So, you know, maybe not, but 30, maybe an hour later, I get a text from Bachata. And he's all like, he's going off. He's like, I don't need your friendship. And for me, it was just jokes. And I thought you thought it was a joke too. And we'll just do our work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, and I didn't reply because I'm just like, you know it wasn't a joke. Because clearly you've done this several freaking times, which lets me know that this is not a joke. And two, now you're saying it's a joke just because I told on your ass. And at first I was feeling like maybe I didn't, you know, let him know well enough that I didn't like it, but I think I did a pretty good job, you know. But either way, it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. So the next time that I go to work, you know, of course he doesn't say anything to me and I don't say nothing to him. And I didn't really care because I didn't do anything wrong. So there's no reason for me to feel awkward. So, you know, I'll just be doing what I'm gonna do. If I need to ask him something to pass me something, like, can you pass me this, that, the other? Regular as hell. But it comes time for him to take his lunch, and him, the other two cooks, and the manager take lunch at the same time. And I kid you all not, they have never, him and the manager, from what I've seen, have never eaten lunch together, or at least not at the same table. They might be in the same area because our Publix had like a cafe area. They might be in the same area, but they would never ever eat lunch together. And he would usually, Bachata would usually leave and go eat at his house, I guess, or something, I don't know. And today, the day after I sent this message and he messages me, they decide to sit together facing me so I can see them, and they're showing each other their phones and they're laughing, and I'm just like, okay. And like I said, I don't like to jump to conclusions, but I be jumping to conclusions. So I'm just feeling like, okay, are they showing each other the messages? Which to a certain extent, I mean, the boss could have showed him what I said, even though I don't really think he needed to do that. But if he did, I mean, yeah, I guess he could show him to say like, okay, this is what she is saying that is done. Is there any truth to this? But to me, I felt like that would have been a shady move, because you don't need to show him exactly what I said. You could just say, there is a complaint from Kayla saying that you are being inappropriate with her and we need to address it. You know, that could have been the end of it. So if he did show him the messages, you know, maybe that's how they do it in Mexico, but I didn't think that was okay. So later on, my boyfriend picks me up from work and we go to get some pizza, and I call my parents to let them know about it, because I mean, I had already been keeping them updated, but I wanted to let them know this side of this portion of the story now, and what happened after I let the manager know. So I tell my parents, and my mom, she's usually kind of on the same wavelength as I am, and my dad just be trying to be a judge all the time, and he just wasn't seeing what I was trying to say. But I give him that. He's trying to make sure I do these things the right way, because when you make complaints about people, especially sexual complaints in the workplace, there's, you know, some type of procedure you have to go through, and you have to have proof, and, you know, make sure that you are, you know, doing right by, you know, whatever the policy is. So he's letting me know that from this point on, not to jump to conclusions, but that I need to document everything and document the messages that I've sent to my manager and the one that was sent to me by Bachata. Move on to a Sunday. So on Sundays, the manager, he does not come in because that's his day off, and Bachata is the next under him. And maybe my manager wasn't thinking, but I would have thought of this. Why would you put the two people to work together when you're not there, that have, you know, beef with each other? So Bachata was next in line to be, you know, manager, standing manager for the Sunday. And so yeah, that was that. So it comes time for me to take my break, and we're supposed to have a 20-minute break, which honestly is bullshit, because 20 minutes is nothing. You know, if you have to buy your food, you're gonna spend 10 minutes in line, and then you're gonna have to take another 2 minutes to walk to wherever it is you're gonna eat your food at, and then you have 2.5 seconds to eat and use the bathroom or do whatever you gotta do. And, you know, I also need time to relax and, you know, button my shirt. So I would usually take maybe about another extra 10 minutes. And on Sundays, I would do that, especially because the manager wasn't there. So I will say that was wrong on my part, but, you know, 10 minutes, an extra 10 minutes isn't gonna kill you. And usually I would use that would be the time where I would use the bathroom, because I need to relieve myself. And if I'm the only one serving, I can't use the bathroom until somebody else comes back to serve. And if I gotta pee or doo-doo, I need to go do it. So I take a little extra time, and at that point, I didn't take a full extra 10 minutes. I left to take my break at 3 o'clock, and I got back by 3:24, I want to say. Well, okay, I had been in my post at 3:34, I think. something like that. I don't know. So I come back, and as I'm standing in the spot where I am waiting for the next customer, I get a text from my boss saying that, oh, Kayla, your time for your break is up. So I'm looking around like, he's not here, so how does he know that, like, why is he texting me this? And I'm just thinking, trying to think to myself, what could possibly be the answer? I already knew the answer, but I was like, no, that's not it. Bachata, he's the one who, had to get rude with me and let me know that he don't want to talk or fuck with me, but yet he's terrorizing me at work. So it can't be him. It can't. So, one of my other coworkers, who was a server, was also there. The brother of Bachata's girlfriend was there. So I go to ask him. I'm just like, even though I knew it wasn't him, but I had to rule him out just in case. I go, so dude, did you tell me that tell him that I took an extra long break or something? He was like, no. And I was like, okay, like, I wouldn't be mad at you, but I just wanted to know, what it was. And I was like, okay, thank you. So at that point, I'm furious because I'm just like, why are you trying to make this a hostile work environment for me? Because I told on you. So so I go up to him and I'm just like, so why are you telling about me? And no, I'm lying. I didn't even say that. I didn't even ask no questions because I knew it was him. And I went up to him and I said, don't be telling it. I keep calling him, saying his name. Don't be telling the manager nothing about me, because you don't need to be worrying about what I'm doing. It is none of your business, and you need to stay out my way. So he's just like,
I'm the manager on Sunday, so I have to
okay, but you wasn't doing that before, and you're clearly doing it to be spiteful. So I ended up start yelling at him. And I was like, it's none of your business what I do, so stop fucking with me. And he's trying to say that, and I'm like, if you have a problem, you come talk to me first. And then he starts to say that I didn't do that when I had a problem with him and I went to speak to David, which is untrue because I told him several times that I have a boyfriend, to stop. I've moved him. I've, physically blocked him. So how is that not, signal enough that what you're doing is not okay? So I ended up cussing at him and all this other stuff, which I probably shouldn't have done. But, when people be lying straight to your face, it gets you hot. So I had to walk out of the section and go call somebody. And I called the manager to let him know what happened. And I let him know that I do not care if I will get in trouble for it because he's being ridiculous. And I'm letting him know this now because, like I said, I don't care. And then I call my boyfriend and I tell him about it and whatever. But I don't stay angry for long because I'm such a sweet girl, and I maintained my composure and I went back. And of course everybody was looking at me like, what's wrong? I'm like, don't worry about it, it's nothing, but China's just being a little bitch. And that was that. So after that, my manager stopped putting us together on Sundays, and it was like, smart move. But maybe about 3 or 4 weeks later, I had to quit because it was getting to be too much because I don't have a car to, be driving to work all the time. So I had to take the bus, or my boyfriend would have to take me. But it was making me lose a lot of in between time for me to study and eat and, do everyday things that a college student needs to do. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm just in love with my hair right now. So yes, that is how I was sexually harassed at work. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stories where people have done, way worse things, but this was something that I experienced and I wanted to share it because niggas is crazy out here. And obviously he's a predator because he's done this to several women. He's dating an underage girl, and my boyfriend is a lot older than me, but I am of age. I'm 19 about to be 20 soon, and I'm not pregnant, so there's no comparison at this point. But that just goes to show you how some men think. They think that they have access to your body parts. They think they have access to you, and you have to let them know. And I hope that other young ladies won't be afraid to let their manager know. I probably should have let him know from the jump, I probably should have screamed at him and embarrassed him. I probably should have, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But either way, you know, you should always know that it's not your fault. It is nothing that you have done. I mean, obviously, if you were flirting with the man and talking about you want to, you know, give him a little or something, then you might not be able to be too mad. But, you know, I wasn't doing that. I didn't let him know that. And it's not like I was leading him on or anything to let him know that I would liked him like that. So, yeah. But that just also shows you that obviously he's a predator, because he also, after I, you know, called him out, he tried to make the work environment hostile, you know, tell on me for dumb stuff like, okay, an extra 10 minutes and not gonna, I mean, my manager is not gonna fire me for that because I was a great worker. I was always on time for work. I always did everything they asked. Customers loved me. Well, most of them. I'm just kidding. It was only one little old white lady that didn't like me, but that's because she was a little cuckoo in the cabeza. But yeah. But anyway, let's get this video to maybe 100 likes. I don't know if that's asking for too much, but don't forget to subscribe and share this channel with you guys' friends, you guys. With your friends, you guys. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Why do I keep doing that?